I want you to first jot down why you are scared to call certain people, right? Why do you have a chicken list in the first place? So there are people that you have thought of that you don't want to call. Every time you see their name, you're like, ah. Well, you haven't even wrote their name down because you're like, ah, I don't know. Okay. I want you to write down every reason why you haven't wrote their name down. You haven't put them in queue. You haven't reached out to them to get their number. I want you to jot down every reason why. So it could be an old elementary school friend, right? And you know their parents love to cook. You remember going to their house. You know they will enjoy the product, but you are scared to call them because why? You haven't talked to the friend in a while. Could be someone, like an old teacher you didn't have the best relationship with. You're scared to call them. Could be a current professor. You don't want them to look at you some type of way if you walk up to them and ask them to do a demo. It could be a neighbor. It could be somebody, who lives in that big house down the street, but you scared to reach out to them because why? Because you don't talk to them. All right, jot down every reason why. Why you are scared to call that person or reach out to that person to get their phone number. You might see them post stories on Instagram, always cooking, but you haven't reached out to them. Okay. So hopefully you got a few reasons down there. Hopefully you got a few reasons down there. And something that I learned from my coach, that Jacob also coaches with and Sebastian Chu is anytime you're scared of something or you have anxiety about something, you got to just default to what's true. You got to default to what's true. Okay. And the truth is, everything you just wrote down is actually not true. Because has it happened yet? No. So that's everything you just wrote down is just you preconceived. It's a preconceived notion. It's something that you might believe, but is it true? You don't know because you haven't tried it yet. So what I want you to do is actually like physically cross out every reason why you scared to call that person on the chicken list. Cross it out because it's not valid. It may hold some merit, but it's not necessarily true. Okay. And so as we go through this this exercise successfully, okay. So let's start off with like, what is a chicken list? What is a chicken list? What is a chicken list? Oh, there you go. As it loads. Okay. All right. What is a chicken list? How does it help you? And how do you expand your names list? Got it. So here's a nice quote. Inaction breeds doubt and fear, and action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit at home and think about it. Go out and get busy. Okay. So I think about, I have a fear of heights. Every time I'm at a high place, what do? I just walk up to the railing, even though I'm terrified to do it. Sometimes my knees buckle. And I do it, right, it's an action I take, and then every time I do that, builds confidence that I can overcome any fear, anything I'm scared to do, I can do. Right? It sends a subconscious trigger, and so that is the importance of attacking your chicken list. Right? That's it. That's a why. Right? Oftentimes, you've heard this quote probably several times while you've been here. Is when you know the why, the how reveals itself. So the strongest why of why you should do your chicken list is to overcome fear and give yourself confidence. That's one why. Right? That's one why. Another one is to also 9 times out of 10, you are scared to call that person because you know they're good. And so with that, you know that they're going to buy something. So 9 times out of 10, when you see somebody on your chicken list, it is a good demo. Okay. So like for me, it was like my old friend's parents, right? So one friend was a friend that who wasn't an old friend, was actually a friend I currently had. Her name is Deja, right? I was scared to call her parents, right? Ask her for her parents' number. I was scared to do it, right? Because I never met her parents. Same thing with another friend named Sydney, okay? Sydney never met her parents, but I knew her actually since like high school, like through mutual friends, and we ended up going to college together. She was scared to ask for her parents' number, right? Once I did it, her mom and her stepdad bought us a Space Saver set. They recommended me to her aunt, who bought a homemaker, who later upgraded to a signature and got flatware. And her aunt recommended me to a friend named Lori Chambers that bought my first Ultimate set. That's on the other side of your fear, right? I'm not gonna say that's guaranteed, okay? But that is probably the opportunity that's on the other side of your fear. I was scared to call my cousin Michael because we barely talked. I didn't know how he would react to me calling him. Right? Did it. He bought a homemaker. Next summer, he upgraded to the signature set. Right? So these are like people that is on your chicken list. Old friends, parents, your parents' friends. So like my mom had a friend that, like an old teacher friend that she had, I never reached out to for a demo because I never met her. So I was scared to call her. Finally called her. Name was Connie. She already had Cutco. So everybody knows what's true about Cutco owners. They always buy more Cutco. And she gave me like rock star customers that now I'm thinking about I need to call. So I saw her right before I opened up my office. And she gave me she was a principal. So guess who she recommended me to? Other principals. One was a superintendent, right? Okay. Whoa, just happened. All right, go back. All right, acquaintances, people your parents do business with. So that's like your doctor, your parents' doctors. Okay. People you're not the most fond of. So you may not have been that close to them, but you still reach out to do a demo with them, right? To do a demo for their parents. Like I made sure that I reached out to every person that I kind of knew in some way, shape, or form. Now, did I always get a response? No. But when I did reach out to them, guess what? What's worse? And you heard this in training. What's worse? Always wondering what if, or actually reaching out to them and then they say no. What's worse? Like always wonder if what if they answer what they say, and you always live with this regret in your heart, like I wonder if, or actually getting the answer. If you don't know, what's worse is that regret, because you never know. Okay. And the benefit, even if they say no when you reach out, is what? Now you know that it's a no, and you can move on. You never have to worry about what if. Okay. So these are just some thoughts that you can put down as far as who's on your chicken list. So right now, I want you to jot down actually something right now. Who is the wealthiest person that you know of? The wealthiest person that you know of. Just jot it down. Who's the wealthiest person? Know of. I'm not saying that, that you talk to them every day, that you met them, but you have some type of connection. Now, I'm not saying like Warren Buffett. Obviously, you might know of Warren Buffett, but you have no connection to him. Now, if you do, and you haven't reached out to that person, you capping, okay? All right, so jot down the wealthiest person. That's the first person that you should, once we wrap up on team meetings, the first person you should reach out to get their phone number on Facebook. It's an approach. Let's say you got them on Facebook. It's an approach in your manual on page like 33. okay, to reach out to people on Facebook. If you need an approach, talk to your manager. I'm gonna have a phone approach at the end of this that you can use to book up that chicken list demo, okay? Remember, this is the 4 cut codes of manual car, right? You already saw close families. A lot of you, like, unless you're your fast start, okay, you might not have been done with that. Okay, you might have saw close friends. The next gear is chicken list. So some of you skipped the gear, right? And because of that, you stalled a little bit, right? So referrals is like that first step out of the comfort zone, right? And that's a big jump. But if you see your chicken list when it's time to see referrals, okay, for like the newbies on the call, if you see somebody's on your chicken list when it's time to see referrals, it's like, once again, like a medicine ball. It's less pressure because you've already stepped outside the comfort zone, right? I don't care if if you're like, all right, like the money that you might, if it's a good customer, good client, like the wealthiest client, you're like, I don't really care about the money. I don't care about that. That's fine. Okay. What we care about is that you have a notch on your belt that says, hey, I was scared to do this and I conquered that fear. And it's the same thing with your push. Okay. For those of you that can qualify for Cabo, it's the same thing. Right. Okay. So here's some more whys. You'll make more money. So you make more money. Okay. Furthermore, what? You'll step outside that comfort zone, which will what? Turn into what? More confidence. Right? You see there, you become cooler and better looking, right? Because confidence is attractive. Okay. All right. So just do it. Like Rob Schneider says, you can do it. You can do it. Okay. So that's the first thing. You just got to just do it. Okay. So now we get into the meats and the potatoes, like the practicality of it, like how to do it. As far as the phone approach, I'm going to share this in the chat box. Okay. But hopefully you jotted down some people, like the wealthiest person. And before I go into the phone approach, I want you to jot down, all right, who are some old friends' parents that you can reach out to? Right? Who is the freshest person at prom if if you're a college student? Okay. Who is like a coach that you haven't called yet, or an old teacher, or even like your old, like I said, university professor. Like, jot down all those names. Anybody you can think of that you were scared to call. Okay. So you did this earlier, like you did the why you were scared to call them. But jot those down. And I want your assignment will be to reach out and get their phone number in some way, shape, or form. Some of you, they already in your phone. You just haven't called them. Okay. Here's some other categories. Could be like your siblings, friends. There's some other categories here. Your best friend each year from preschool until now. Okay. Favorite teachers, all your principals. So from elementary school, middle school, high school, if you went to multiple high schools, principal across the board. All right. Neighbors. Once again, who's the person that lives in the biggest house on your block? Could be, siblings, top 5 friends. It could be an ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, right? It sucks to kind of see this happen. So I didn't see my ex-girlfriend's dad. Her sister ended up doing the job. Okay. She worked with me. She was like a receptionist for a couple weeks, did the job. And then her dad and his girlfriend at the time bought like $500 worth of product. I was scared to call him. Cause I was like, I don't know how he's gonna react. Okay. Could be the person that sold your parent, sold the house to you, to your parents, or your insurance agent, your banker, financial advisor. Okay. Some of you haven't thought of this, and so you scared to ask your parents for these people. So jot those down. Okay. Now for the phone approach, I'm gonna share this in the chat. It's very simple. It's just like other ones. It's just like any other approach. Okay. So it's like, hi, Mr. So-and-so. Right. Hello, is so-and-so there? Okay. Hi, Mr. So-and-so. This is Craig. I'm not sure you remember me from high school. Okay. The reason I'm calling, I was just wondering if you can help me out with something. What I'm doing is going to school at, for me, it would have been U of I. And during the semester, now, if you're not in school, you'll say what I'm doing, okay, is, I'm currently working with the company. You just skip that bit right there, right? So, what I'm doing is I'm going to school at U of I, and during the semester, I'm working with the company, showing Cutco, to gain some business experience, and I'm trying to earn a scholarship for college. My assignment is to get the scholarship. To get the scholarship is to show a product to people and get their opinion on it, which makes it great because you don't have to get anything. In fact, you don't have to be interested in the product at all, because I get credit towards the scholarship just to show it. Right. And once again, if you're not in school, what you can put in there is like, it helps me out towards my goals just to show it. It helps me out towards my goals just to show it. Now I need to do 15 appointments by this day to stay on pace for my scholarship. So I was wondering if I could schedule a call on this day or this time would be better for you. Like I said, there's nothing really different about it, except you might just say, I'm not sure if you remember me. Everything else is the regular phone approach. Okay. And that's the chicken list approach. Okay. So what I hopefully you took away from this is it's simpler than you thought, for one, and hopefully you got some reasons why. Right. When I think about my massive growth came my second summer on a job, because that's when I saw everybody I was scared to talk. I wish I did it my first summer. I don't want you to deal with that regret. I don't want you to deal with that, as far as, just that what if mentality and those missed opportunities. Because who knows, I probably would have sold a lot more my first summer. I could have won a scholarship if I saw those people. Because those are like my best clients. Got it? So always, always, always reach out to those people. All right. And then this is how like a warm-up text. Okay, here's a text I'm gonna share with you. Last resource here. Hey, so-and-so, this is blank. So it's like an old, elementary school friend. I had a quick question, thought you could help. Call me when you have a free second. Thanks. And then you just use the approach that's in the menu. Like if they're your friend, you're asking for the parent's number. What I'm referring to in the manual is in page, where is it? 30. All right, 32. This is literally what I did. I called. So I'm talking about Sydney. Okay, I called her for her friend's number. For her parents' number. And I used this approach. Okay. I called in and did this. I said, are you selling something? Like, yeah. But what's cool is, Sydney hit me with this. Like, let me ask them first. Said, okay, that's okay. But like I said, I'm really supposed to talk to them myself to compete for the scholarship. And I wouldn't be doing this if I thought I was going to bug your parents. And it won't take a lot of time. And I'm sure they won't be mad at you for helping your friend. So can you help me out? All right. You might get all of these. I remember specifically with Sydney, it was just these two. Okay. With Shantanice James, I went to high school with her. She hit me with this. Like, my parents were really busy. Said this. Her parents bought some Cutco. Her dad worked for IDOT as an engineer. Offered me a job on the demo. Like, once you graduate, hit me up. So these are everything that's on the other side of your fear of not calling that chicken list. And what it would do for you, once again, for those that's in TLA, or even if you're not in TLA, you're on a path for TLA, you can hit Cabo, right? Imagine doing this now, and then come the push. Do you think you're going to be as scared of any goal that you have? Probably not. Probably not. Why? Because you have already conquered that fear. It's like, base camp, right? If you climb Mount Everest, I read a book on it. They have different base counts to get you adjusted for the final peak, right? And so it's the same thing with the chicken list. So that chicken list is the first step to, getting over, conquering that fear, or anything else you want to do in life, right? Some of you are scared to talk to your professor at college, right? Some of you are scared to talk to that guy or girl that you got a crush on, or ask them out on a date, right? And so this would build that confidence for you, right? So that's the chicken list, and that's a great segue into the next part as far as like why to sell now. Why I say that's a great segue, because one of the reasons you want to sell now is simply because of the same reason. It sets up that momentum, okay? So here's some reasons why to sell now, okay? Why to sell now is one, for income. All right, I think about Quentin. All right, Quentin, does this suck being able, how much have you sold this campaign so far?
26,000.
26,000. Okay, 26,000. All right. Does it suck to make how much you've made so far?
No.
All right. So how much you made, if you don't mind me sharing, it's probably what, like 6K, 6 to 10K, something like that.
I make 45%, so over 10, like probably around 11.
Yeah. And you're in school, right? At Brigham Young?
Yep.
You don't work on Sundays?
Nope.
Okay, for sure. So you only operating on 6 days out the week?
Yep.
Okay. And is school more fun with more money or less money?
More money.
Yeah, for sure. Right? So that's one reason, is the income. Okay. Number two is the challenge. Okay. So some of you heard about this in the goals workshop, and I'll make this quick, right? In your training, I'm gonna just refresh your mind. Some of you are like, I got a lot on my plate. Well, just get a bigger plate. As you go through life, and I'm sure Dory can attest to this, right? With her pets and everything as well. Okay. And I believe you have kids, as children as well, right? I believe, right? Or, yeah, I remember in training. I think your dog walked fast, right? And so as you get older, would you agree that you get more on your plate? You have more responsibility? Yeah, 100%. So some of you are applying the mindset of like, if you was trying to run a marathon in 5 months, it's like, all right, I know I need to prepare for these next 5 months, but I'm just gonna wait a week before the marathon to get adjusted for it. If your friend was trying to run a marathon to do that, right, what would you tell them? Would you tell them that's a good idea? No. You'd be like, that would be silly. You probably are gonna hurt yourself. And that's why you see Sebastian, he ran 20 miles on Sunday to get adjusted for it. Okay. So you got to set yourself up for that challenge so you know what it feels like. You got that experience to draw from. So Mike Muriel talked about how a girl he used to work with back in the day, she got into University of Chicago Booth School of Business, right? So that's like the #1 business school, MBA program in the country. And she had great jobs after Cutco, but do you know what she put on her application? Cutco. She drew from her experience pushing, she drew from all that, and that's what allowed her to get into school. Right? What you gotta realize, I read a book called How to Think, The Magic of Thinking Big. The busiest people in any company, in anywhere world, they always, a CEO or a manager always goes to that busiest person because they always get it done because they know how to manage more things on their plate. So that's number 2, is that challenge. Number 3 is the recognition. Okay, you always hear us talking about Quentin. So some of you want that recognition. Like, I want to be like Quentin. You hear about, or you might heard about Kyle Lopes, who sold like $1 million around being in school, or he's a Hall of Fame. He didn't sell $1 million in a year, but he sold $1 million while going to Columbia University, an Ivy League school. Okay. So some of you like, oh, go great school, it's rigorous curriculum, can't do that much work. He played hockey as well, by the way. He sold $1 million in his college career. Yeah, exactly. Right. And the last, so you might want that recognition. Muriel looks. So once again, Chicago Division, he don't really know you. You want to stand out, you want to stick out for Muriel, because that will be the fast track to be a branch manager, get the best territory, or be a district manager one day. That's the key to do it. And the last one is momentum. do you think it's kind of already touched on this already? Okay, is that challenge? When the push comes, do you think it's easier to go into the push once you've already been in that rhythm? Yeah, if you're already doing demos, it's not going to be like the hardest thing to do is to actually start. So some of you are in key staff and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He talks about how it takes, I believe, like 5 times as much energy for a rocket to break through the atmosphere, like that first launch, than it does for the rest of the trip, which is like millions of miles away to the moon, whatever the case may be. It takes more energy. So the liftoff is what requires the most energy. So if you're trying to do that, you wait until the push, you probably gonna waste a couple of days trying to build that momentum, trying to build that energy to do so. So it's best to do it now. So that way it's just an autopilot, right? When the push comes to do so. And some of you, you want to go through college, you may not want to run a district office, I always recommend it. But some of you may want to, get your dream job somewhere else. What's more attractive to a company? Someone that just did school and did nothing else, or someone that did school, okay? They also, worked, they won a scholarship, right? They pushed themselves, right? They sold about 10K around being a full-time student. That's more attractive because it shows once again that they know how to adapt and they know how to handle more on their plate. It's a concept called entrepreneurs, right? That's what companies look for now. They've studies that show entrepreneurs are actually the catalyst to a company's growth. Right. So now's the time to build that momentum. Now's the time to get the recognition. Now's the time to get the challenge. Now's the time to earn the money that you want to make. All right, that's my 2 cents. I'm gonna pass it back to Jacob.
All right, thanks, Craig. I'm going to go and end that recording.